And we're live. Hello.
Hey, folks.
Hi. Hi, everyone. Welcome again to our second episode of Stars I Shall Find, a Star Trek Adventures campaign featuring these lovely humans and maybe humans and aliens and other creatures. Um, as you can see, we have all our names here, so you all know who we are. And if you've tuned in from last episode, we're going to jump off right where we left off after I give a wonderful little. Hang on. I'm not sure if we were being heard.
Oh, I can check if you want.
That would be great, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that that whole thing was just us not being able to be heard. So let's start over. Hi. Technical issue number one, just straight right off the bat.
Just get it out of the way now.
Starting the new year right.
Yep. All right, it's already getting hot in here.
Set expectations now. It's just like this.
Yep.
This is how it's gonna be.
That's how many technical difficulties we can find. I'm putting
No,
it on
because
six.
that would
Tempt
definitely,
fate. Why would you tempt the universe in that way?
definitely gonna
said
double it.
six. I could have been worse.
You have now guaranteed there will be at least 12.
Yeah. No, all right. I think we're okay, but everyone should be able to hear us now. Hi, welcome to
Sure fucking hope so.
welcome to our second episode of Stars I Shall Find, a Star Trek Adventures campaign, actual play campaign, with the crew of the USS Gwenhwyfar. And why don't we? Because, like, I think we need a good intro scene or something. I should commission someone to do, like, an intro scene for us, because there's always, like, a moment where I'm like, I want to start the game, but I also, like, want a thing to start the game with. Anyway. With
You want the person in like the hot pants with a big old flag to go like.
The voyages of the USS Gwenhwyfar.
yeah, it's continuing mission to the
United Starship.
United Starship.
Because the United Federation, so United Starship.
I'm glad my camera's fucked right now, so no one had to see me drink directly from the apple juice gallon container like an animal.
Wow.
But you just
Picturing it as its own
You
reward.
didn't have to out yourself, Nika.
No, you didn't. It's okay. Our viewers have already seen me do it.
Plenty of times.
It's like the time I like adjusted a bra strap at work and clocked myself in the chin by accident.
Aw.
I realized no one had seen me do it, and then immediately told all of my coworkers.
Okay, so jumping in. After a 2-month trip through the Beta Quadrant, the USS Gwenhwyfar arrived at Narendra Station, also known as Starbase 364, the last starbase before the vast frontier of the Shackleton Expanse, a region of space yet to be explored by Starfleet and the Federation. The crew of the ship, however, did not have a moment to relax and enjoy the view before receiving a distressing distress signal coming from the SS Magpie, captained by a man named Kirshen, which has no relation to the captain in whatsoever, and was totally intentionally named by me and not a fluke. Admiral Hebert of the Narendra Station dispatched the ship to respond to this distress signal. The crew used their skills and technological abilities to uncover more about the information, to gather more information about what they're headed into. Boy, when I wrote my recap, I did not write that last sentence very well. So, after preparing themselves and the ship for a possible encounter against triolic radiation and potential time travel, the ship entered warp. It is a 4-day trip to Lethea, so unless anyone has something they wish to do during that time, we can skip to the ship getting out of warp, unless there was something. Captain, I remember you saying there was something you had ideas.
Yes. I have 2 things I want to do. One of them is very quick, and one of them involves asking some questions. The first one is I would like to make sure that we contact Admiral. Wow, I didn't write that down correctly at all.
I might have.
Hebert.
Hebert, yeah. Hebert.
I would like to contact the Admiral and let her know what we are flying into. What we know about the situation, because she was there when Sigilla contacted me and Lieutenant Scott about the distress signal. So
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that she's
Okay. Do you want that to be like a quick like text message, or do you want that to be like a full face-to-face message?
I imagine that it is probably just a like quick text message kind of thing.
Yeah, you get a very because you aren't that far away from Narendra yet. You get a response pretty quickly, and it's a quick affirmative and a gratitude for like keeping her informed and to keep her informed while you go throughout your mission, and to be careful, especially to be careful.
Excellent. The other one is the other note that I have from last time is that I'd like to have Lieutenant Commander Mabrin begin preparing medical for potential casualties.
Okay, yep.
Okay.
And that I believe will involve some discussion, but also we would need to know things like the crew complement of the Magpie, how many people were on board the Magpie, and then also, just in case, more about the colony that they were headed towards. Because theoretically they would have just about reached Lithea 5 when the signal, when we assume the signal was sent. We have no actual information on that because it was supposedly sent 12,000 years ago, but they were 4 days out of Narendra Station, and there was a small temporal disturbance 5 days ago, so my brain is going,
Okay.
But just in case some amount of evacuation needs to happen, preparing for not just like one person who got a little too close to uranium, but like how many people who may have varying levels of radiation sickness.
Yes.
Okay. Why don't we do this?
Just in case, not like we are ready for them to come on board now, but just a like worst case scenario.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this can come into play because one thing that the ship that you all need to decide before we do anything else is the ship also has modular laboratories as a talent, and so at the beginning of each mission, and this is the start of a mission you're going into, you decide what you want these laboratories to be modulated into. So if you would want to figure that out while you also coordinate like triage rooms and like getting the proper inoculation materials and radiation beds, med beds, whatever.
My knowledge of radiation sickness is very limited, but I believe there's some amount of isolation.
Yeah, quarantine
needs to happen and stuff. So
stuff like that.
If we can set up for at least some of the laboratory space as like quarantine areas.
Yeah, I was just about to suggest that as Situla, that we do that.
Okay. So what do you want those? Oh, okay. Sorry. You go.
I will have Sigilla and Mabrin. I will put them in charge of figuring that out. deciding who needs what space, how much space. You two fight it out. Good luck.
Okay.
Okay, hang on. Let me put the talents.
This is where I'm looking at my list of staff. This is where I'm looking at things.
I'm gonna pull up.
The temporal anomaly specialists and the archaeologists and I myself already have our own labs, so I don't believe the science division will be needing any of the modular laboratories at this time.
No.
I would be happy to assist you in setting up the modular laboratories as quarantine overflow if needed.
Yes, please. That would be very helpful.
Okay. Why don't we do?
I've had a discussion with my staff, and what we're probably going to expect, if they have had limited interaction with any radiation, we're probably going to see early signs that include nausea and vomiting, a loss of appetite. So that's going to be very unpleasant. And it's later that everything might start to get a little bit more sus. So really, if it seems that we're getting some of the milder symptoms, it might behoove us to get out as soon as possible. Just pick people up and leave. Treat the members of staff first. The city will still be standing, in my professional opinion. And that is where I stand on that.
So, how do we set up the modular laboratories?
So, I'll read the talent as it says. The ship has considerable numbers of empty multi-purpose compartments that can be converted into laboratories as and when required. At the start of an adventure, the crew may decide how the modular laboratories are configured. This configuration counts as an advantage, which applies to work performed within the laboratories. So basically, this is going to help Mabrin out a lot if you have to deal with irradiated people.
Yeah.
And
Okay. I wasn't
we
sure
might
if we
need
had to
some-
do anything.
no, you don't have to do anything.
I would suggest that maybe we have some of that space dedicated to manufacturing or replicating more epinephrine. Adrenaline has been a sort of a chemical that has been used to treat radiation sickness for hundreds of years, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So we're probably going to need a fair amount of epinephrine sooner rather than later to treat anyone who may have it. It's never a bad thing to have it on hand anyway.
Yeah, I think that's not something you're gonna have to worry about with replication technology. It's easy just to get a ton of it. It's I'm gonna say that's a medicine that's easily replicatable. Like sometimes there's medicines that are like so rare that like they can't be replicated, but this is an easy.
It's not like making potions in D&D where it takes like 3 full days and you have to dedicate 8 hours a day to it. And...
Yeah.
I do take
I'm not
an
used to
aside.
these fancy Starfleet replicators. Jeez. No, I don't know what that accent was, and no, I'm not keeping it. Don't worry.
Thank you.
Situla takes a moment aside, like after they've figured out what's going on with the laboratories, and just like taps their comm button. It's like, Dr. Olive St. Pierre.
Yes, sir.
Please remove any personal projects from the modular laboratories. And no, please do not argue. I know that's where you put your still after I had it removed from the main labs. You have 2 hours.
Murder Olive St. Pierre.
Sir.
Then I had one additional thing. So do we know how many people were, like, we know the crew complement of the Magpie, how many people were on board, right?
Yes, I believe I said about 50. Which I can...
did not have that written down, so I will write that down now. And do we know how many people were at the colony?
Pull up my notes. Hmm. This is going
like
to
a
be.
colony or just an archaeological like
It's got about 500 colonists on it. So that's how many people are there on the ship, on the colony, blah blah, and about 50 people on the ship.
Excellent. All right. And then I would like to spend some time coordinating with probably my pilots, Dave Evan included in that, on given the temporal anomaly and the potential radiation happening, I'm personally not comfortable relying on transporters exclusively for any potential evacuations. So I would have those who are able over the next couple of days of travel to make sure all of the shuttles are ready in case we need them.
I have checklists for that.
Excellent.
I would personally prefer never to rely on transporters for any reason at all, so rest assured I'm on board with that plan.
Awesome.
That's how I'll spend my time.
Yeah, just
Excellent.
reacquainting yourself with your
Just
yeah.
making sure the shuttles are ready in case we need to use them for evacuation or to pick up people from the Magpie or whatever we find.
Making sure.
You've got 8 shuttles, so you're good. She has a lot of shuttles on this ship. All right.
I'm gonna make sure that
named all of them.
Mm-hmm.
We do have over 500 people potentially that we will have to transport.
Hopefully it doesn't get to that point, but better safe than sorry.
Okay.
I'm definitely, like, while we're going over this, like, making sure that whatever pilot, ensign, like, intern I'm working with is, like,
some petty officer.
Exactly what we're doing and exactly what we're doing, like, for. Like, I've got this person has clipboards, there's binders, it's a whole thing.
I love Dave Evan Scott.
Trying to find all my folders.
We're not ending up in trouble because whoever the hell I'm training is not knowing where the redundancy sheets are kept. Filing this shit in triplicate, thank you.
Yeah, you have a bunch of petty officers just swarming you with folders and pads and
actual physical paper
and physical paper and pencils.
Oh yeah.
Just like trying to figure out everything to do with everything. Okay. So unless there's anything else, we're gonna jump out of warp.
Okay.
That's all I had.
Okay. The ship. You hear the humming sound of the engines as it slowly powers down, and the ship appears just outside the Lake Theia system. I can describe, if you want to do a basic scan of the system, you can. If that's something you would like to do.
Can we do a scan?
Yeah, we can do a scan. That's going to be a reason science check. So, I believe
Which station does the scan?
usually the science station does the scan.
I can do that.
Lieutenant Suchula.
All right, so it's going to be
And I
2.
can roll for the ship.
Yeah, so it's going to be difficulty 2, reason science check. So roll 2d20, and you want to roll under your reason and science score. And last I checked, y'all had were capped out on momentum. So, and because this is a new scene, so you lose 1 momentum at the beginning of a new scene. So.
Okay, my personal reason science is 17, and I got a 15 and an 11.
Okay, so that's 2 successes, and the ship is rolling with sensor science.
Sensor science gives us 14. It's a 17.
Oh, so no help. So, success, but no momentum gained. But you do learn stuff about the system. So, the Lethea system has 6 planets, the only habitable one being Lethea 5. The other planets being 2 Class J planets, 1 Class T planet, and 2 Class D planetoids. Lethea.
I sure do know what that means.
That's okay. It's filler. It's filler. It's science filler. All right. Lethea 5 is a lush Class M planet. Initial scans show conditions similar to an early Earth, but is uninhabited by sentient species. The oceans are vibrant cyan with a vast combination of climates. The colony established on this world is positioned at the mouth of a river beside a particularly verdant forest. So, your scan, Situla, what are you looking for in your scan?
What am I looking for? Probably any like more traces of the triolic radiation.
Okay, you are
First of all,
definitely getting that. One thing that stands out to you is the lack of the SS Magpie. You do not detect it anywhere in the system.
Oh dear.
okay. I kind of already anticipated that.
Okay. You are also detecting a buildup of displaced chronotons that have a phase variance of 0.004 coming off your port bow.
The right hand side.
Port is left, right?
Oh shit.
Yes.
Port is left.
Starboard. Starboard's
Can't
right.
believe I did that.
It's
That's
left
the
and
ultimate
port have the
betrayal. I
same
worked on
number
a
of
boat for
letters.
so long. God damn it.
Oh, it's okay. All right. So you have all that information. You do have your science ability, science officer ability to get a free extra information spend if you would like to do that. And then you can also continue to spend momentum as you will to get more information.
That'd be dandy if I knew what I was asking about.
Mm-hmm.
So things that we can ask are because the buildup of chronotons is on the left. It's port as we're approaching, so it's prior to. That's not the way that I want to phrase this.
So like we go past it before we get to the planet, which means whatever emitted it was like didn't reach the
so
planet.
Would they be on the likely kind of flight path of the magpie, or is there an obvious source for them, like that's no moon or something?
Can we see what's causing it?
Yeah.
Is that your final answer?
No.
No. Yes.
Give me like a solid question that you want to throw at me. I need it from Sitchilla.
Okay, so we've already sort of come to the conclusion last episode that the colony that is being excavated, the like little settlement that's being excavated on Lethea 5 was probably the magpie after it got sent 12,000 years in the past.
Right.
Right. So, of course, we don't see the magpie right now because it's 12,000 years in the past.
Is there a question here, or?
I'm willing to bet that's where the chronotons are from.
Yeah, I think the question should be something about what is there a source for the chronoton? So is the chronoton field well defined, like in a specific area or something?
Is it well defined? Is it just just like free floating chronotons, or is there like a source that's emitting chronotons or causing chronotons to?
Okay, I'll give you this. You can tell there's a buildup of chronotons. You can sort of see and trialic waves, and you can sort of trace their trajectory and where they're coming from. But you can find like a general area in which they're coming from, but you cannot pinpoint a source. And and I'll give you this as well. You're suspecting that 0.004 variance in phase could possibly have something to do with it. And if you want me to explain how I mean by phase, basically, like, it's out of the time frame by about 0.004 seconds, enough that you can't notice whatever it is.
Okay.
That's what I mean by out of phase.
So it's like happening, but it's happening slightly adjacent to our timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a defined, like, dead pixels on screen, or is it more nebulous? Like, hard to define where?
It's more hard to define.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't expect it to be easy, but
Mm-mm. Okay. If you want to ask any more questions, you can spend momentum. You have 5, at least. That's what I have written down.
Wow. What would I need to do to get my 2 temporal anomaly science folk on this?
You can you can spend one of your crew support, because you have 6, I think. Spend 2 of that and bring these 2 characters in.
Okay. I'm gonna, before I do that, I'm gonna turn to the captain and explain what I've found and say I believe that our temporal anomaly specialists may be helpful in reconciling the phase variance so that we can actually see what the hell is causing these chronotons to be emitted and see if we can't shut it down.
excellent. Get them on it.
I will do that.
So what are their names again? So I can write them down.
One is Dr. Valhis, AM pronouns. A is an Anar, so a blind,
Oh yeah.
sort of psychic relative of the Andorians.
Mm-hmm.
And the other is
There's no shame in getting
Miabom Laban.
I'll just do Laban.
A trill.
A trill. Okay.
She, her. Unbonded. And they hate each other.
So Valhis and Laban. Or, yeah, Laban. So, yeah, you were saying something?
We've got the document. Like, we can just look at the stuff, you know.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, but I have so many tabs open. You're right. I could have easily done that, but I like hearing Vico's voice sometimes, so it's fine.
I'm just watching Vico struggle, and like, just get the document.
Just look at the doc, for God's sake.
The room's populated with 600 staff members already.
I did a count, and it's only 105. Thank you very much.
I have contributed 4 names to this list.
I have to scroll all the way down to get to the science officers.
You can just really fuck the system and just do the A to Z on the science column, and oh look,
That's true.
Listen, logic in my Star Trek.
We're not Vulcans. All right. So the turbolift doors hiss and slide open, and these two officers in science blue. One of them a pale blue skinned, clouded eyes, white hair, Anar, and a spotted Trill. Um, she looks like she has like uh, mm, sort of tannish skin, probably maybe like Latina in origin. She, if she were human, kind of thing. She and Valhis walk in, and you could tell that whatever was happening in the turbo lift before the doors open had ended abruptly, uh, and they are uncomfortably close to each other, but they are both straightening their uniforms and walking out. And they walk up to you, to the science station, and give a nod to you, Captain. Um, and seemingly speaking for the both of them, Laban says, "Yes, sir."
Dr. Miabem Laban, Dr. Valhis, um, we appear to be having, and I've already briefed you on this, but we've found some more information. That is to say, we need to figure out what's emitting these chronotons and triolic waves, but it is about 0.00 out of phase with our time, and I need both of you to figure out a way to mitigate that so we can figure this out. Because I don't have that kind of time.
"I, sir, will get right on that, won't we?" And she looks over to Valhis, and A says, "Yes, sir, we'll get right on it. Have you considered taking a phase discriminator and adjusting the variance to 0.004 and adjusting to see if you can detect it? We need to make a field around the where we think the source is, and containing that field in with a uh, within the phase discriminator should be able to, at least stepping through it, you should be able to be in phase with whatever it is we're looking at. How big is this area we're looking at?
I gesture to, I probably have it like plotted on a map
Okay.
at the science station.
It's a couple kilometers.
And I say, I'm not sure anyone wants to actually go in there, given that we believe, or at least I suspect, this is the anomaly which sent the magpie 12,000 years into the past. Is there a way that we can observe it without getting close enough to be, sent 12,000 years into the past?
We can attempt to send a probe in and see if we can get visual data.
That works.
Okay.
Your input.
If there is a way to, at minimum, map the edges of the phase variance so that we can avoid it without risking our crew, or at minimal risk to our crew, I would like to attempt it. So if there's a way that you two can send a probe or whatever needs to be done, make it happen.
Okay. Why don't we try this? Situla, I'm going to ask you to make a roll, and you're going to be assisted by the two scientists, which
How many dice is that?
So you're going to be doing 2d20 at base. You can spend momentum to get more dice if you'd like. This is
spend momentum to get at least one more dice.
yeah, because let me tell you the difficulty for this. This is going to be difficulty 4.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So it's one momentum for the first
First die, and then 2 more momentum for the second die that you buy.
We have 4 momentum left.
So if you want to spend 2 more to get a...
Getting 1 die from the scientists, yeah?
You're getting 2 dice from assists from the die, and an assist from the ship as well.
That would be 6 dice altogether.
6 dice rolling altogether.
So I would... Words are a thing. I don't know that I want to spend 2 more momentum for 1 more die, because we might need that momentum.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So I can live with 6 dice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Alright. So this is going to be a reason science check, assisted by sensor science.
I'll roll for the ship.
Okay. I will roll for the 2 scientists.
Oh, nice. So my reason science is 17. I got a 7, a 1, and a 10.
Okay, so that's 1 counts as 2 successes. So that's...
So you rolled 4 all on your own.
Yeah.
We didn't.
Yeah.
You have 1 success from one of the sciences.
Ship rolled a 5, so that's also a 6.
That's also an assist. Okay, that's 6 successes. There we go. So you regain your momentum back up to max. And
what is max momentum, just for my...
6 is the maximum momentum you can have. And here's what you come up with. The scientists reason, they suggest creating a ring around the area of where you think the source is going to be, using phase discriminators, either by dropping them in, setting them and dropping them in certain points in space, or taking shuttles out and actually creating a ring of shuttles and creating and linking them all together and to create a ring of a phase discriminator. And then you send a probe in and you can determine what is inside. So that's the first step of this roll, is determining how you're going to do this. And then the second half of this is actually doing it. So I assume this is how you want to. How do you want to do it? Do you want to drop probes out, like to float in space, or do you want to have manned shuttles out surrounding the area of effect, quote unquote?
If I might make a suggestion here.
Yes.
Just thinking from the perspective of piloting, might we be able to do some sort of a hybrid of the two, where we send 1 or 2 manned things out with probes to sort of keep an eye on them and direct them, but keep on the edge of that? Is that not a thing that would work?
That would, Sigilla, or Captain and Sigilla, I think you can both come to the conclusion that would work too.
That's a very reasonable plan.
My concern with sending shuttles out is if one of them slips into the phase variance, we've just lost a shuttle and at least 1 pilot. Potentially 12,
which is why I would
past forever.
Yeah, that would not be good. Which is why I would
having a lot of shuttles.
Mhm.
I really like that.
recommend the hybrid of the two, because that way we can keep whoever is out there like far enough away that we don't think that's necessarily a concern, especially if we see any of the probes like slipping into it. We can pull them back immediately, but then we still do have like the human eyes on the situation.
Hmm.
Sort of like a hang back and remote
So
control car.
if there's a way that we could, maybe we send 2 piloted shuttles out. If we can keep them a safe distance from a known edge.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of thinking about this as like sending floaties out into a swimming pool. But
Send the probes ahead as like minesweepers.
yeah,
Yeah.
but if we can send probes out and then have the pilots kind of, because presumably they're all very good at what they do and knowing things about space and stuff.
Folks in my department are top notch.
We do have a general location of where the like anomaly itself is within the Chronoton field.
And now, I don't know how wise this would be, but considering I'm the XO of this ship, but I would volunteer to pilot one of them.
Nope.
Not a good idea.
Nope.
I've been the XO for 5 minutes. I don't know if this is a good plan.
Nope, because you might be a very good pilot, but I'm not going to lose you 12,000 years in the past if I need you to evacuate a planet.
That's a good point. I didn't consider that.
Conserving my resources for later.
But Captain,
only having the
command.
I've seen Star Trek before.
The command crew does all the work.
I was just like, I'm a good pilot, and that's where my thought process stopped. But with the manned shuttles, only having them like with following this like minesweeper thought process, only having them follow a trajectory that the probes have already gone down.
Yeah.
To map out like, where the edges of the anomaly are.
Dave Evans Scott, to coordinate with Dr. Valhis and Dr. Laban about who you think are the most capable pilots for this mission, which shuttles you think are most appropriate to use, and directing the launch of the probes.
Yeah, I think I can handle that.
Okay.
I point at the 2 scientists. Just like, be nice.
They both look at each other like,
behave.
They both volunteer to go on these shuttles. Separately, of course. But
I didn't think.
So they're both going to risk their lives, so.
I would like to keep one temporal anomaly expert on this ship.
The
other one enters the temporal anomaly.
Now,
Paper, scissors it out, guys.
I understand putting these. I don't want to put either of them on these ships. Frankly, like I think we ought to just have a pilot on them.
I don't see what information you hope to gain by getting closer to the anomaly that we haven't fully mapped yet.
Well, with all due respect, sir, you're going to need someone who can modulate and set up the phase discriminators on location. We know how to do that, sir.
Which one of you has better reflexes?
I do, they both say at the same time.
Which one of you is better at table tennis?
Can Daru take... Oh, I don't know what they would have on them. I want Daru to just take something and throw it at both of them. Not knives!
Fidget spinner.
Daru's not throwing knives!
You have your badge. Have your badge.
Yeah, Daru will take her badge and their fidget spinner and throw it at both of them.
Okay. They're both gonna roll. Let me see what they do.
Listen, I make my Hansons in the piloting department here do a lot of table tennis.
Um,
Not fond of it until I started the bracket ranking, and then it was like a big hit.
Fabulous.
I like that idea. Good
Give him
thinking.
something to be competitive over. It's a reflex training exercise.
I'm putting this as a difficulty 1 task for them.
Does Daru have to roll to aim?
No.
I would
That would
Part
be
of the
fun.
point is bad aim on this one.
Surprisingly, they both catch it. They both catch their thing.
That was extremely not helpful. So Nari just says, "Can I have those back?"
Yeah, and they give them back.
Thank you. Puts the badge back on. Sets the fidget spinner back on their station.
Executive decision. Because I am your boss. Velhis, you stay, Laban, you go.
Aye, sir. Lavan says, and well, he's much more reluctantly says, aye, sir. And they step off to go. Alright. So, technically you've already rolled for this, but I am going to ask for more rolls because I like making people roll.
We have max momentum. We can roll so many dice.
Okay.
To roll you into the swamp.
That is quite a phrase you just said.
It's a rough translation of a Finnish saying.
Okay. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, no, I'm still gonna have a roll, but it's not gonna be a roll anyone else is gonna roll.
I got 6 successes.
Yeah, you did. Alright. I'm just gonna do 1 roll for the combined efforts of the pilot staff and their efforts to get the thing out. So I'm gonna set this as a difficulty 2. Which is it okay?
Some are wearing red.
Say again?
Can they use a momentum for an extra dice?
Sure. Which is good too, because I'm going to spend a threat to make the complication range increased. So if they roll a 19 or a 20, it's a complication. Mark that threat down. Okay. So make sure you mark that momentum off, and I will roll. They're going to be good at this, so I'm going to say. So it's 11 and so 15. They have to roll under a 15. And the dice just rolled off the table. Hey, take a drink. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4 successes on a difficulty 2. I think I said right. That's what I said. So, yep, got your momentum back. Okay, you watch as so which 2 shuttles are you taking out? Are you taking 2 out? How many are you taking out?
2 shuttles.
Okay. Which 2?
I don't want to risk more than 2. We have 8. 2 of the smaller ones. I don't remember which ones those are.
So we've got the Type 8s and the Type 9s.
I think it's the Type 8s.
Okay, so that's either the Wilson, Mater, or Galloway.
I forgot what we named our shuttles. I'm delighted.
Let's send out the Wilson and the Mater.
Okay, so the Wilson and the Mater are out there. Wilson. Okay. They start deploying probes. They send out probes in front of them, and as soon as they go a safe distance away, they catch up with them and then send another probe, kind of like feeling out ahead of you, like, and you're in the dark and you're feeling for something. If there's something in front of you, your hand hits it first before your face does. And eventually there's a ring surrounding where you believe the source of the temporal distortion and that 0.004 phase variance is occurring. And then you get a hail, Captain, saying, ready to initiate on your mark, sir. Hi, sir. And there's a moment, and then there's this thin blue line that streaks out from one shuttle to the probe, and then to the next probe, and then the probe, shuttle, probe, and then back to the shuttle, and creates this blue ring around, and the entire area around you starts glowing blue. And other than that, you don't seem to see anything else. It seems that whatever it is that's changed, that you can see, you have to be inside the ring to see it.
All right, so now we send a probe into the.
Yep.
Right.
Hang on. I feel like there's an actual rule for sending a probe in. So let me look that up.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
In this game?
Put me in an Eva suit and I'll go.
Rules in this game? Hey, launch probe. Found it.
Situla is very much like me can have a little chaos treat, and then towards the rest of the science staff, they're like, "Can we also have some chaos?" And Situla is like, "Absolutely not."
Okay. So it's no difficulty task, no task for you to send the probe in. You just shoot it in because it's kind of easy to do. So you send it in, and this is where you're gonna get
lobbing a ball at a multiple kilometer wide area of space.
Yep. So are you? I assume do you want to maintain visual contact with the?
In visual contact with the probe.
But do you want the probe to transmit video?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
If at all possible.
If at all possible. Okay. It will go through. You'll be able to get not sound, because sound doesn't exist in space. Never mind. But you'll get video. I almost been like, here's what you hear.
As much data as possible.
Okay. So you watch as the probe is launched. The video contact begins with it still in the launch bay, and you see it go through the launch tube and fly towards the ring. And once it passes the threshold of the thin blue line, not making any commentary on that, that blue shine brightens, and there's suddenly distinct static that you assume is coming from that phase variance. But what you see inside is for lack of a better word, it's a giant snake. Or
obviously organic and alive.
It looks like more specifically an ophidian. But
that's a term I gotta look up.
Yep.
It is.
Okay.
Actually, let me look up an ophidian, because
it's
been a while.
Very.
Ophidian.
I was already nervous.
Ophidian Dungeon Dragon.
Snake in space.
It is not moving like an organic creature. It is actually mostly stationary. And I think if you want more information, I'm gonna ask for a momentum spend, or if you want to use, I think you still get your one extra momentum question. So, but this is all that roll was leading up all the way up to this moment, spotting this giant space snake.
Well, Situla has to take a moment to be absolutely fascinated.
We would expect nothing less.
This is amazing. I've never seen anything like this.
Muttered Klingon phrase from Daru that translates roughly to "What the fuck?" then definitely, I am very sorry, Captain.
You said it doesn't look organic.
But it's not moving like an organic creature would.
Is it static or is it like wiggly like a video game loading screen?
Is it like doing an idle animation, pretty much?
Yeah.
I'd say it is slightly animated like that. It is slightly moving in that sort of undulating way. It's kind of like it's doing the worm in space,
Okay.
but very very slowly.
I wanted to know if it was like, does it very obviously look like someone is projecting the bat signal, or does it look like this could actually physically be there?
No, it's physically there. That's what you do. You definitely detect a mass.
All of the other pop culture references I can get.
Okay. These are all questions I'll give you for free. So, but Situla, what other questions would you like? Yeah. What are your questions?
So, we haven't determined if it's like. Okay, first of all, how big is it? Ship size.
So in terms of like SDA rules, like the Gwenhwyfar is about a scale 6 ship. This thing is roughly about scale 4.
Okay.
So smaller than the Gwen. Still pretty big.
Like, you said I couldn't determine, like, from a glance if it was, like, a living creature. Like, it's moving and it's there, but it could be mechanical in some way. Or can I determine that it's, like, a living being?
So your free question was that how big was it question, right?
Okay.
Yes. So then if you want to spend a momentum to get this next answer.
We could spend a momentum. We're maxed out.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
Situla wants to know.
It is.
I want to know too.
It is. You're not detecting. Well, so you're not detecting. It's not organic. It is. It's confusing to your sensors. Its cellular structure, like the atomic structure of it, is very. It's almost like it's a synthesis of organic and inorganic. And it moves almost like an organic creature, but very, very slowly. But you also get the sense that it's not a sentient creature. It's not living. You also I'll give you this. You also detect you do detect organic traces as individual life forms within it.
No one told me you could have a snake ship.
I want a snake ship.
A snip. A snip. Can't really do it. Snake ship. Snake ship.
It took me a sec. Nicely done.
Snake.
There's just no good way to combine
Snip.
A snip. I like that one.
God, that would be fun to fly.
I just imagined that entire conversation about what to call it actually happening on the bridge.
Oh yes.
On the bridge, and I'm just there like daydreaming about flying it around an obstacle course, like
just say. I would love to do that.
Just sitting there, just like daydreaming about flying it around an obstacle course. Like, God, that would be so much fun.
So, because of the phase variance, we can see this through the probe, but we can't. Can we contact it? Like, could I send out a hail? Or would the contact have to go through the probe?
You can certainly try. I mean, that's something you can only figure out by trying.
I presume I know nothing about phase variances.
It's a pretty out there topic, even amongst scientists. So.
Lieutenant Situla?
Yes, Captain.
Would you like to try hailing the snake ship?
I would be delighted to hail the snake ship.
Oh my gosh. Okay, hang on. I'm trying to find the hail communications. We're so hail snake ship.
For hail the snake ship.
This button that looks like a snake ship.
It's the shape of a snake with its tail like waving hello.
It's on the bottom right of the L card.
Yeah.
You gotta scroll a little bit.
Right
This
next.
is all
Yeah.
happening like in character, and the ensigns around us are just like, oh, so this
I'm
is
just
the
like,
kind
what
of
is
ship
our
we've
senior
signed
staff?
on to.
They've seen the medbay videos. They know what they're in for now.
Everyone this is their first like tour is just like, the adults really don't know what they're doing, do they?
You mean we were supposed to act like we do?
What?
Okay, so if you want to send a hail, that's going to be a control engineering task. If you want to have someone else do it, because
That's not my job.
okay, we can have our chief engineer send a hail because she's pretty good at engineering.
Lieutenant
For whoever's at, I would like whoever is at the engineering station.
I'd say
Communications or whatever.
yeah, the ops station.
This is Kai saying that, not
Mhm.
the captain. The captain would know what it's called.
It would be the operations
We'd also
station.
presumably know who was there.
Yeah,
They're sitting.
Lieutenant Brosy, your chief engineer, would probably be there at the engineering/operations. So she can roll if you like.
That would be wonderful, Lieutenant.
All right, she says, "Aye, sir." She actually does this.
This is ship.
Control engineering. So that's a 16 for her.
She's very good at engineering.
She is very good at engineering.
Chief engineer. Oh.
Does the ship roll as well?
Yes, the ship rolls with communications engineering.
I get a 2.
Okay. So this is going to be difficult. It's normally difficulty 0, but I'm going to spend a threat to make it difficulty 1. Because of interference and all that hot, fun stuff. She got 2 successes, so that's automatically and +1 from the ship, so you're maxed out.
Back up to full.
Okay. You attempt to hail.
On the YouTube, are we gonna call this hailing the Schnip?
Hailing the Schnip, yeah.
Obviously. What else would we call it?
Is that going to be the other half of the title this week?
This ship gone before and hailing the
Amazing.
ship.
Yes, stars I shall find, hailing the Schnip.
Hailing the Schnip. Alright. Okay.
When you're in the scene menu on the DVD,
This is hailing the Schnip.
I'd still like to put my digs in a ship, but you know, that's me.
Okay.
That is preceded by, I'd really like to fly that.
I'd really love to fly that Schnip.
Yes.
Alright. So you so she says hailing frequencies open, sir. And there's the sound of open static coming through, which you can imagine is the distortion from the phase variance. Let me roll to see if they respond.
I want to know if they're in there on purpose.
They're like, oh god, the fleet are here.
I'm
Feeling
very
things are
interested
getting
in how
interesting.
many first contact rolls I am breaking right now.
I don't think it's first contact.
If I start thinking about that, I'll get a headache. I'm just
At
like,
least
oh god.
contact.
There's no response.
Tell you don't want me to.
So our frequencies are open. I have no way of knowing if they've received.
Pretty much. You know that the channel is open, and that if anyone can hear you, can hear you.
This is Captain Oberkrision of the USS Gwenhwyfar. We have been sent out from Starbase 364 on the path of the SS Magpie. If you have seen the Magpie, you know what happened to the Magpie. We'd be interested in any information that you have.
Okay. The only response you get is you watch through the probe's eyes, through the probe's lens, the ship begin to undulate a little bit quicker and turn towards the Gwen and start moving towards you.
Nope. I would like us to back up, please.
I am backing us up already.
Captain?
I would also like to reach out to the shuttles and have Lieutenant Scott coordinate movements with them, because we can see. I'm operating under the assumption that we can see what the probe sees, but they may or may not be able to see that on the shuttles.
They would not.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
having Lieutenant Scott and whoever else is at the con coordinate their movements so that the shuttles don't get scooped
I'm gonna
by the snip.
lean over and suggest to Valhis that A starts figuring out a way that we can pull the snip out of phase variance, if necessary, because maintaining this net may not be feasible for much longer.
Okay.
Would it take a roll for us to be able to determine if the kind of chronoton field and the area of the phase variance moves along with the snip?
Y'all,
which is now what we're all calling
it.
It's still just gonna make me chuckle every time.
Well, it's not like it's got a big, conveniently spray painted name on the side.
No, yeah.
True.
Is this like the American British slang variances that always happen? Because I'm like, it's a snace ship. Because they ship.
Snake ship.
Snake ship sounds like spaceship. I just like that.
Yeah, it's got snake at the beginning of it.
Snake ship. Snake ship. Okay. You.
I mean, you can keep calling it the ship.
The singular Victorian.
You just watch as Mabrin mutters snake ship. Just the nose crinkles even further.
There's one other Bajoran on the bridge, and they're nodding in agreement.
Yeah, snake ship.
I also turn around and be like, that would be my vote.
Yes, the source, you've determined that this is the source of the displacement, the trialic waves especially. This thing is radiating trialic waves off like crazy. So, yes.
Captain, shall I go to yellow alert, red alert?
Let's keep it steady on yellow alert.
Yellow alert.
And
That's the sound of the alarm going off.
if possible, and I will turn to Dr. Valpes at this point. I assume we need to keep the ring intact to maintain contact with the probe.
To keep the probe within the phase variance in order for us to visibly see and interact with the Snace ship. Yes.
Okay. Is there
Who's
a
got
way?
the most Twitter followers? Can we make a poll?
Not be me.
as we're mid-emergency.
Like everyone,
just like typing at the medical station on.
like,
Would you
I mean, I'm not doing anything now, am I?
Yes.
right?
you're just standing there like.
Person who does not.
do the paperwork I've been avoiding for the last few hours. Might as well.
Commandeered one of the yeomen, just like reply all.
Reply all. Nice ship.
Is there, and I'm gonna continue to address Dr. Valmis, is there a way for us to get that ship out of the phase variance, given that it appears to be the source of it?
He like is silent for a second, and he says,
He's an AM.
sorry.
Stop misgendering my made-up character.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Thanks for a moment. And then A will say, given that they're the source, I don't see any way we can pull them out. They might be able to come out of their own volition. But
is it possible for me to get a tactical assessment on the ship just from what we can see from the probe?
Sure, why don't you roll a reason security check?
And where did my character sheet go? I have too many tabs open. I'm presuming either their focus in survival or hazard awareness or tactical systems might come into play?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay. Security. Alright, come on, dice. You're playing Star Trek, not D&D. Ooh! 3 successes!
Wow, okay. You needed 2. So that's 1 momentum you have extra lying around. So what are you looking for specifically?
Looking for things like things that might clue me into if they're in an attack posture. Like, are their shields up? Can I tell what kind of, like, obviously this might be a stretch because it's all coming in through a probe, but like, can I get a read on armaments?
Okay.
That sort of thing.
Okay. So you can tell that their shielding is mostly triolic in origin.
Okay.
It doesn't seem to be something they can raise or lower at will. It's just sort of something that exists. The technological aspects of this ship are very confusing. They don't seem like something that was deliberately made to be like it was built. It had to have been built, but the way it's been built seems more
Nonsensical almost.
Not nonsensical, but alien. Just really alien. Just completely like in the most broadest sense of the word alien. Alien, like alien as in strange, as in you can't quite possibly understand it. You do know ineffable. There we go. As if these creatures are, they're not entirely from around here.
Okay.
I
will report that to the bridge.
Yep. And then you also notice that it does have it is sort of going. It's moving towards you, which is usually an aggressive movement, especially in space. When a ship is moving towards you, especially when it's already kind of close to you, moving towards you is generally an aggressive action. So it does not seem friendly.
I have a question about the probe.
Okay.
So obviously the probe is sending us a video. Are we able to get other data from it? like from inside the phase variance, could it tell us I am now approximately 12,000 years ago, or
Not particularly.
we run a scan through it? I don't know how probes work.
Right. The probe has equipped with like sensor suites on it. It's basically it's a programmable and like modular, so you can outfit it with whatever it is. So you obviously outfit it with a camera lens. I would assume you would probably outfit it with something that is able to detect trialic waves and phase variances, which it is detecting this. It's not. I don't think there's like an internal chronometer inside it, or chronometer. Yeah. Inside of it, and it's still detecting that it is within this time frame. Vico's laughing.
Maverick sent an email to all crew polling.
I see the alert in ship communications.
Right, I can't switch to it because it'll change the screen, but
Snip or Snake's ship.
I am listening, honestly.
it's okay. We'll have something for you to do soon, Doctor. Once the casualties roll in, you'll be busy. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's okay. There's no rush.
Wasn't complaining about not being busy.
Nope.
Just commenting on it.
Just sitting back enjoying.
So I have Lieutenant Scott prepared to back up. He's got us in reverse, so we can just maintain our distance. Presumably also communicating with the shuttles in order to maintain that ring as the snake ship moves towards us.
Mm-hmm. Eventually, that ring will intersect with the Gwen before the snake ship, which I'm actually leaning towards now. Intercepts with the Gwen, so the Gwen might like cross that phase barrier.
Well,
unless you want the ship to keep backing up.
I have the Gwen also
okay.
moving back, so the Gwen's also in reverse.
Okay.
And we're just all like one big party.
Just moving backwards.
Slowly moving down the parade route.
8 is what you're saying.
Oh, okay. Interesting reference.
Because I don't want to enter that phase variance and not be able to get out.
Right.
So I think what I want to do is I want to direct Dr. LeBon and the shuttle pilots whose names I don't have.
You're never given them. They're nameless NPCs.
I presume they are not on the spreadsheet.
Not yet.
They will be by the end of tonight.
We haven't actually come up with 500 names. Just saying.
1,200.
Yeah. Is it possible for us to recall the probe? Or is it one of those like free-floating space junk?
I think it's space junk now. I think you shoot it out and it just sort of goes, and it doesn't really come back.
I wasn't sure if it was like a buoy in the ocean or if it was like an RC car.
No, it's more like a buoy.
Which means that the probes making up the perimeter, are they?
That's right.
Just buoys?
They are also just buoys.
This thing is going to breach the perimeter sooner rather than later.
Right.
It's actually moving towards the probe itself first.
I would like to recall the shuttles. So I would like the shuttles to maintain that ring for as long as possible before getting out so that we can see the snake ship make contact with the probe.
Okay.
But I want the Gwen to be moving back.
Okay. The Gwen can easily move back. No rule required. It's moving backwards, and the snake ship is like moving towards it. And as it's moving towards it, this is going to be some cool like finger puppetry going on here. But here's the probe. Here's the snake ship.
TOS all over.
Oh yeah, here we go. And it's going, and its mouth opens.
Oh.
And a glowing blue shine comes out of it. And the last thing the internal chronometer reads on the probe, it just says 12,000 years, and then it is gone.
Shit.
I want those shuttles
God.
back. We are moving not directly backwards,
Yep.
but to the side.
We're out.
Radioing down to my pilots, like, return now.
Okay, they're gonna roll to come back.
TFO.
Oh,
They're gonna.
I think
Essential
this
as
might
just like,
be
do you
a
think that's a
moment.
defensive maneuver, or do they harvest the displaced chronotons for power?
Can write a paper while we're on the move.
Yep.
So I think this might be a time for Daru to make a Claros check.
Okay.
So for those of you who are not familiar, Orions have pheromones that basically project their emotional state onto other people.
Oh boy.
Daru just saw a probe get sent back 1,200 years. They're a bit emotional right now. So I'm going to go ahead and make that roll.
Yeah, go for it. So that's gonna be a control command.
Yep. Wow, I have a decent command.
Hey.
My target number is 13. However, my complication range is 18, 19, 20. We'll see how this goes.
I'll say difficulty 2.
Okay. I did okay. Darn it. Claros checks are fun when they fail. What is my comp? 18, 19, 20. Yeah, I succeed. So I'm doing okay.
Yeah. There's a brief moment of where the anxiety and that
There's a bit of like, and then nope.
creates you can clamp down immediately. Just hold it in. Just bury it deep inside, and then one day I'll die.
I mean,
Okay.
may or may
Feel,
not.
don't feel it.
Alright.
So
Oh.
I would
Turn it
like
off like a light switch. Just go click.
Just turn it off.
how many musical references?
I'm not saying I have experience doing that IRL, but I'm also not saying that.
Haven't we all?
None of us are not.
Okay. So here's what's gonna happen. The shuttles are gonna try and make their way back. They're breaking formation, so your visual on the snake's ship disappears.
I assume it did when the probe got yeeted.
Oh yeah, when the probe disappeared, you lost all sense of it, but then any other future chance of seeing it goes away as well. I'm going to spend 2 threat to increase the complication range of these shuttles' roll to make it so if they roll an 18, a 19, or a 20, they have a complication. And we'll spend another threat to raise the difficulty by 1, so it's going to be difficulty 3 now.
I would like them to spend a momentum.
Okay.
I'm making a lot of executive decisions about the momentum spend, but we're at
You're the
max,
captain.
so
You're the
I
captain.
think
You are the
that's
captain.
within your rights, frankly.
We do have a lot.
I'd,
So.
And we do
I'd
need
like to spend a momentum to give them an extra die.
Okay. All right, so they're going to need to roll a 15, I think I said. Yeah, 15. Dang it, no complications. All right.
Yay.
I
we
really
haven't
wanna-
used any red shirts yet.
I want to get those ships.
I think they're gold shirts, to be honest.
If they're pilots, they're red. Oh no, it depends.
Depends on what era
Yeah.
Star Trek you're in. I
Okay.
think at this point they're gold.
At this point, they're gold because red is command.
That's true. I'll have to look it up. So that's 3 successes. So they managed to succeed. Unfortunately for me, because I wanted to eat a ship. It's fine. I'll just go for the bigger one.
And they needed 3 to succeed.
They need 3 to succeed. So they managed. You're gonna have to. I think you raise shields with yellow alert. So you're gonna have to lower them in order for the shuttles to land. So zoop, and then
We're going to. So if this is the trajectory that we last saw the snake ship on, I would like to meet the shuttles. Like, I would like to not move straight back, but I would
yeah, you want to go back at an angle.
I would like to maneuver so the shuttles have to kind of like loop around to come meet us.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out.
And in fact, when I made those gestures, I would like the shuttles to loop around behind.
Okay. Yeah, you're just to basically give a wide berth to the give a wide berth and just go around.
And is there? And I think I'll pose this question. Is there a way for us to track the limits of the phase variance as it's moving, as that ship is moving?
I believe we should be able to.
You can make a sensor sweep roll. So that's going to be a reason science assisted with the ship's science sensors.
Okay.
So I'm going to set the difficulty at. I'm going to spend a threat to make it a difficulty 1. I'm just spending threat like crazy.
I just need to get 1
Mhm.
under 17.
Yeah.
And I'm rolling 3 dice because one of them is the ship.
No. Kyle rolled it for the ship for you.
Okay.
I rolled for the ship, so you're only rolling 2 dice.
Fuck. One is an 8, but the other is a 20.
Ooh.
Got your complication.
Oh,
And
no.
I got a 4, so we gained a momentum back.
We
So we're
can
back up
spend
to
2
max
momentum to eliminate the complication, if we want to do that.
That is
My
true.
players always do that to me, and I'm so frustrated. But that
I
is
would
something
not-
that can be done.
I
Or
would
we can
not
have
like
fun.
to do that because I want to save that.
Okay.
Because if we have to go rescue one of our shuttles.
All right.
Good point.
So you drop the shields. So the shuttles are coming in, and you drop the shields to bring them in. There's a surge of triolic energy right as your shields go down. Everyone on board, so everyone takes 1 stress,
Oh, good.
1 point of stress.
I forgot that was like our measure of like HP, and I was like, well, I should think.
You are more stressed now.
I don't know about y'all, but Dave's pretty stressed right now.
Boy.
Is that color one in or take one off?
I think that's color 1 in.
It's color one in.
Color one in.
Okay.
Because I think like as your stress levels mount, you're in a worse situation. So I would say color one.
You know who just looked at their talent for the first time tonight?
Oh no.
I have
Oh,
diffused attention.
oh.
Well, that's more of a social conflict.
Silence.
Oh yeah, you could have tried that.
Theoretically, I could. I know. Theoretically, I could have used that when I was hailing. Oops.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Oh well.
We're here now.
Yeah, I've been looking at my talents, and I'm like, none of these apply to
My
this
talents are
situation.
all for unarmed combat.
Oh,
Right
I
in
could have reduced the
front of
difficulty
me
by
and
1 if we're resisting being
silly,
coerced
I
or
haven't-
threatened.
All of
You're not being coerced or threatened, so.
I'm tracking momentum with d8s because we don't roll them, and I have
Nice.
momentum sitting right above my talents.
Oh. Okay. So let me mark a stress for Rosie. All right. There's that surge of energy, and let me roll an attack real quick.
I did not take anything defense
I
related.
was looking at my talents, and I could have re-rolled one of the d20, but only if I had bought a d20 with momentum.
Which you did not.
Does Citula have cautious?
Yes.
That's so antithesis. Like
Out of all the talents,
Yeah.
Could have expected you to have bold.
Citula just wants to do science right.
Fair.
Okay.
That's fair.
Everything else is just window dressing.
everything else is negotiable.
Like-
Ethics.
Including, jumping out an airlock is fine for the science.
Okay.
My own physical safety.
So there's that.
early automation.
Okay, so there's that surge of triolic energy coming from the you assume to be the snake ship, and the ship like jolts a little bit, but then it takes no damage. Nothing happens other than that. That you can tell.
Once the shuttles are in, we're up to red alert.
Okay, red alert. Shields up.
Because theoretically, we were just attacked by a ship that we can no longer see.
What do you do now?
I would.
So if at that moment of like the shot being fired, there was a surge of triolic radiation, we can track that and track where the displaced chronoton field is going, so I can at least set up like a way to sort of see if it's
I
gonna
would like to
attack
track
us.
the invisible ship.
You're kind of using like a sensory, like a chronoton detecting echolocation system. You can see where it's been, so you can guess where it's going, kind of thing. Okay.
I would like to perform evasive maneuvers.
Okay. That is going to be a Dave Evans Scott roll.
Yep.
Yep. So evasive action.
Lieutenant Scott, get us out of there.
Okay. So it's going to be a daring con task with a difficulty of 1.
And there's I have precise evasion. Is that a thing that is applicable at the moment?
Ooh, let me look that up.
As a talent, it says whenever you succeed at the evasive action task, also have to do the evasive action thing first.
Yeah, and then succeed.
You may spend 2 momentum. If you do, the ship does not suffer the increased difficulty for attacks normally caused by evasive action.
Okay, so that would be helpful if you were going to attack back, but...
Yeah, which I don't think we are at the moment, at least. So what do I need to roll again? Sorry.
So daring plus con, so 2d20, and you want to roll under your combined daring plus con score.
Does the ship roll?
Yes, the ship rolls a structure plus con.
Okay. Ooh,
Okay,
not great.
so, and it says, so I'm being, am I being assisted just by the ship, or am I being assisted by the ship's computers and sensors?
No, you're not being assisted by the ship's computers or sensors. It's the ship's structure.
Just checking. And so in roll 20, if I could find my roll 20 tab. There it is. So this is my daring plus my
Con.
And
sorry.
con.
Daring plus my con. So that's gonna be a 12 total. So I'm gonna be wanting to roll under a 12, right?
Right.
Awesome. Okay, well, that's a 16 and a 7, so
That's 1 success and a success from
Success.
Gwen. All right, that's
6. Yep.
2 successes, so you gain a momentum if you've spent any.
it's not bad.
Right, so the ship, you tap your hands against the L cars and the ship rolls a little bit to the side. Everyone does the little shift to the side thing. And
Script in different directions. Which is very Star Trek of us.
Yeah.
actually.
And you managed to. So where are you going? Do you want to get further away from this thing? Do you want to get closer? What do you want to do?
I would like to get further to sort of an angle so that we're not like head on. I would just like to not be faced by it.
Okay.
Wherever it
my
head,
preference
I think we should be out of that.
is if we know that it's going like this, I would like to go like this.
Yes.
So
yes,
yeah.
That's a good idea.
Like,
So
go
if
like
it's
under.
if it wants to turn around, it has to go around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you?
I want it to have to make some kind of like maneuver that will slow it down in order to get to us.
Okay.
I would also like to aim towards Lithia 5.
Okay. That's you can.
That's possible.
I'd say that's easily enough.
Completely support that.
Right? Yeah. So you'll.
That incorporate all of my concepts and mix them all so much better because there's a point to them.
So the ship rolls, does like a little 360, and then hits its impulse engines and shoop and moves forward, and is now hurtling towards Lithia 5, the colony. All right. So as far as you could
Are we
tell,
all concerned about bringing this thing towards the colony at all?
That's a good point.
Because if it's zapping shit way back in the way back machine, maybe the colony is not where we want to be leading it.
I'm not saying that we're gonna like land on the colony and direct its
Right.
attention to 500 people who are performing an architectural dig or archaeological dig.
Surprise,
I
guys.
kind of want to get a planet or a moon or a asteroid or a large piece of space junk between us and
that's
the
good.
snake ship.
Okay.
It'd also be a
If-
handy reference if we are shot 12,000 years into the past.
That's a good point.
I would also. I'm presuming that the video that was sent to us by the probe is something that we have recorded.
oh yeah, totally.
I would like to send, if at all possible, while Lieutenant Scott is performing wonderful little maneuvers in space, I would like to send a clip of that and any data that we have from on that ship to Admiral Hebert.
Okay.
And just say like, this is what we got so far, and now it's chasing us.
Send help.
It's just like the
There you
video
go.
and then that like vine of the dude playing the guitar going, everyone knows that shit's fucked, and that's the whole message.
It's a combination of that and the vine where the lawnmower just launches up into the air. Yeah.
There we go.
What?
Perfect.
I love
We
that.
reinvented hieroglyphs.
And I want that to also have our current coordinates and our anticipated trajectory.
Okay, that's easy enough to send.
Data packet.
Okay.
Just in case.
Okay. You can easily do that. It's going to take a little bit to get a response because you're now about 4 days away. It's not going to take about 4 days to get the response, but it'll take it'll take a convenient amount of time. It's coming not right now.
Convenient amount of time.
I want it to be clear as I'm like throwing this, very quick email together that like a response is not immediately necessary. We are not requesting backup at this time. I just want to make her aware of what we're encountering and where we are in case something happens and she does not hear from us.
Okay.
So
It's an
so
FYI,
that-
not a send help.
Yeah, so that if something does happen to us, she doesn't go, wonder what happened to the Gwenhwyfar. Let's send another ship to check it out, and they end up in the same situation.
Yeah. And
Yeah, that would not be good.
I'd like it to also, the message to also say like, hey, don't send anyone over here. Don't do it.
This shit's fucked. Don't come here.
That's why you sent the vine.
Yeah.
They want to take a permanent vacation.
Oh,
Unless
Christ.
anyone's
Permanent
really cool with
vacation 12,000
prehistoric
years ago.
technology.
Yep.
12,000 years ago is just going to be getting all of the starships.
But I presume that because we did the whole like bring around the Rosie and the probe and stuff, we have an idea of how far from the ship as the kind of epicenter that phase variance extends.
Yes.
And so I'm making assumptions about science here.
Yeah.
So it would include like projections of what to look for when encountering the phase variance and stuff if we aren't able to resolve this.
Okay.
If they need to send more people out this way, they know what to look for and to be on the lookout for Chronoton field of this particular dimension and whatever.
Right. Okay. Easily enough. Easily enough. You can send that. I won't make a roll or anything.
Waze telling you that there's a cop out ahead.
Yeah, it's like
That's
still there. Is it still there? And there's nothing there. Bane of my existence.
debris on the road ahead. It's still there.
Still there. Yeah.
That's
Snace ship on the road ahead. Still there. Okay.
Red light cameras ahead.
Okay. So I will say I'm gonna need one more reason, science, and sensor sweep check from Situla just to get so you can track the ship, track the snace ship.
Cheers.
Could I use this opportunity to just like quickly research if we've seen anything like this in the archives? I know I'm not a science operative or anything, but could I just like
Sure, yeah. Roll reason science, and you're going to be assisted by the ship's computer's science.
2 dice, yeah?
Yep.
Well, one of them's a nat 20. And the other one was a 12, and my goal was 14. So 1 success, 1 complication.
Okay. What did the ship get? No.
Natural 20.
Nat 20. Oh no.
Well, I'm banking
Not good, is it?
2 of those as threat. 1 of those is threat. So I gain 2 threat from that.
I'm not gonna use this dice anymore.
I'm only going to say the difficulty was 1.
A dice hoard.
Yeah.
It is.
Difficulty, it was only difficulty 1, so you still succeed. So I'll give you the good news first. You've already researched stuff about the Davidians.
Yep.
In your research, you read about their use of a device called an Ophidian, which was a small handheld like thing that turned into a snake that caused time travel somehow. It's very weird, but this is nothing you've seen before. There's no evidence of the Davidians having space travel, having ships. They've had time travel, but apparently they have space travel as well. So that is what you learn. The complication.
Oh boy.
Glad I rolled that on the let me check. the
Yeah.
books and not on the
Yeah, I think I might just bank that. I'm
pass.
gonna bank that one as threat as well, so I just gained 2 more threat, which is good because I spent a lot of threat today.
Do you have a limit on how much threat you can have?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
You
What
also
are we on
can
now?
just
5?
give yourself threat if it's a particularly threatening situation.
I also start each like session with like 2 threat per person in the party, so I start with 10 threat.
I feel threatened.
I love that for us.
Situla is having a grand old time.
Okay, so the I'll say because Okay, so you check on that. So you learn that this is probably Davidian in origin, given the relation between Ophidians, their proclivity for using Ophidians. Um,
Yes.
so this is possibly Davidian in origin. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and can I get that sensor sweep check from Situla, please? So
Yes, you may.
reason science and then sensor science from the Gwen.
I'm grabbing new d20s. There we go. Reason science. A nat 1 and a 16. Both of those beat my reason science, which is 17.
Okay, so
Nice.
that one is. What are your focuses, by the way? Keep forgetting about those.
Are my focuses? Starfleet protocol, anthropology, botany, genetics, composure, and xenobiology.
Okay, none of those apply, but you still get that nat one, so that's good.
Yay.
That's 2 successes. So I was gonna say the difficulty is 2 because I keep forgetting to say what the difficulty is beforehand. Um, so yeah, so that's gonna be difficulty 2. So you gain 1 momentum if you have any space for it.
We've maxed out.
Okay, so you have a floating momentum, and
I do also gain a bonus obtain information.
that is true. So let me give you.
Momentum can be used for gain information.
Yes. So basically, whenever you roll, you if like so let's say you're maxed out on momentum like we are now, and you succeed on a roll and you get extra momentum, that still exists, but it goes away once the task is done. Like we've moved on from the task. So it's good to spend that extra floating momentum. Is what we call it, floating momentum. Okay. So you can with that roll you can easily track the that you can't pinpoint the source, but you know what the source is. But you can track the movement of this moving mass of phase variance and chronoton and this just giant ball of, don't make me say it, but time travel stuff moving towards you. It actually, you watch it, it was the way it was moving because you kind of juked it, you kind of like zagged on him. It had to turn around and is now so you basically gained some ground off of it, so you basically lost it a little bit, so you have some more space between you and it. I'd say probably like a couple 100 kilometers.
Nice.
Yay.
Personally, a fan of that.
Yep.
Okay, and what's your free question?
Track it. If it's not in phase with our time, how is it affecting us? Can it affect us outside of the displaced chronoton field, or would we have to be within the field to be affected?
Okay, so those are 2 questions. Which one do you want me to answer first?
The first one I asked.
Can you ask it again? Because I forgot.
If it's out of temporal phase with us, how is it affecting? How would it be able to affect us?
It's sort of like how if someone were to like swing their hand in front of you, you'd still feel it doesn't make contact with you, but you still feel the gust of wind. So temporarily, it's sort of like that. It's like tangentially affecting you, but it's still producing triolic energy that is in phase with you, and so that triolic energy still is affecting you. So they're not out of phase with you spatially, so they can still affect you spatially. They just can't affect you temporally.
So they would still be able to send us back to
Yes.
past, blast from past.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That kind of answers my second question too, of whether or not we need to be within the chronoton field to be affected.
Yeah, it's sort of like to put it like this. They can affect you, but you can't affect them. It's kind of an unfair situation right now.
God, Avery.
I'm sorry. That's how it is. I didn't invent this species.
I have,
You did not.
I have a question
Yes.
that do we have any big brains on board who could say how they are able to kind of see and maneuver towards us, but we cannot see them? Because presumably the phase variance works both ways. It's not like a one-way mirror because they're out of phase with us.
I have focuses in a couple things that may be relevant to that, if that's a thing.
Okay.
I can open my sheet.
Like how could they? What they're doing is they are maneuvering towards us, even though we're no longer.
Yeah, it's not that they're invisible.
Yeah.
It's like they're in a different room.
It's.
So how can they see us, but we can't see them?
Spend a momentum, and I'll tell you. Oh yeah, Lexi.
Is that our free floating momentum?
Sure, yeah, I'll let you do that because it's related to this. You can gather. You can guess this as a hypothesis that they are moving towards you. They're detecting you in the same way that you're detecting them, kind of like just to the side. They're like they're guessing where you're at, just as you're guessing where they're at. So they're following you, probably tracing you by some means you can't determine. Just as you were able to follow and find them with the radiation they give off. And yeah.
Is there a way for us to rebound the trialic energy back at them?
To like harm them?
Yes.
You would know because this was talked about. These creatures, Davidians, have their biology allows for them to not be injured by it.
Can we do that not to harm them, but just to not harm us? Can we like do something with the deflector dish?
The shields already. Your shields are good enough to.
Oh right, we dropped our shields. That's why we all.
Yeah.
What?
Shields are back up. We're at red alert, so we should be okay.
Yeah, you're gonna be fine.
So in order to affect them, we need something that, since they're affecting us with triolic radiation that is exiting their temporal phase and entering ours, we need to do the reverse.
Do we need to?
I don't think
if we want them to stop shooting at us.
Okay,
and
so
if we want to save the rest of space around us from being sent back 12,000 years.
I have two questions.
Okay.
First of all, Lieutenant Scott, is it possible for you to get us far enough from them that we can mask any trails we might be giving off from our impulse engines?
If there is a way to,
like I don't necessarily want us to be dead in the water and hope that they don't see like they pass by because they don't see any lights on board. But I kind of want to get us in a position where something else, maybe it is radiation from the sun in the system or something like that, is masking our trail so they lose us.
Well, I was thinking about that actually, and so you said, Avery, that we don't know what it is that they're doing that's interfering with our ability to track them, right? We don't know what it is?
we don't know how they're tracking us. We don't know what
Okay.
vertical
Yeah.
Okay, that's but how they're tracking
field
us
and
is
the trail of
not my question. How
radiation
we
to
are
track.
unable to track them,
It's
whatever it is that they're doing that's interfering
yeah.
with our ability to track them. We don't know what it is that they're doing that we can't follow them, right?
Well, the reason you can't like detect them and see where they are and track them is because they are like a fraction of a second out of phase
Oh, sure.
with you. That's the main reason why you can't track
And
them.
so this radiation that they're emitting, they're like immune to harm by it. Yeah.
Yes, but they do give off enough that you can track them from that.
Okay. Is there a way to anything that like would I know enough about their like the types of navigation systems and the types of navigatory software that exist like within the realm of reasonable invention to know if there is something that we can do to reflect that radiation back or to somehow put off a sort of like any kind of radiation of our own that might fuck with their software?
Okay.
Because now I can make rolls for this to see if I know this, but I have like a couple of focuses that could apply.
List them off for me.
Because I have them in navigation, helm operations, evasive action, and math. Relevant at all?
Have you got any other focuses?
Yeah.
Right,
the other ones are Starfleet protocols, composure, and uniform code of justice.
I haven't heard your voice in a bit.
Actually, okay.
I know this sounds a little nutty, but is there a way that we can essentially? So is there
a way we can fuck
throw
with their
chaff? Can we throw chaff? Is what I'm asking.
And kind of like throw off their scent, pretty much.
Like if you're in a helicopter and someone is trying to track you with like a heat-seeking like missile thing, what you do is you throw some shit out the windows that will spread and that will refract back.
Right.
So whatever they're using with their targeting system, like we'll track all of that instead. Is there a Star Trek version of that we can do right now? Can I throw chaff? Is my question.
Okay, that's actually a really good.
Is there a way we can do that that does not involve ejecting the warp core?
Right.
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 Because that is the only thing I can think of, and that
because
would be
I was thinking with the radiation that they're giving off, is there a way to somehow reflect that back at them, not to damage them, but to confuse their sensors somehow?
Right. I think that
By throwing the radiation back at them.
Right. This is something I'll tell to Situla, so Situla can like, because I assume you're talking this out loud to everyone else, or is this something you're trying to?
Because I'm like thinking out loud because I'm just like, okay, we have an issue. This is a complicated issue. If I'm thinking out loud, and
If
I would imagine.
I mean, I've just presented like, could we mask our presence somehow, and so I assume this is
part of that. Yeah.
You're like mask our presence, and I'm like, okay. Masking our presence. These are our options, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, okay, anybody feel free to throw in this time. I'm talking to the room, not myself.
Okay. So Situla, I'll tell you this, and also actually I'll tell you all this. You would all sort of know as you would need to figure out what it is they're tracking you with before you could even consider doing that. That's a good plan. You definitely know that's a good plan. But you need to know what you need to know what to throw out the window to get out. Because if you throw out a plastic cup, it's not going to do anything.
If it's heat, if it's
so we
light,
need to know what to make our chaff out of. Basically.
Yeah.
My
and
other question is.
Okay, this is gonna be the last question before I have to move things along.
I think Moon has said in the chat that they'll need to finish up in the next 10 minutes or so.
Yes, I know. That's why I want to get one more thing in before we end.
Right, sorry.
No, you're okay. No worries, I saw it.
Aside from the Davidians having been encountered about 12 years ago, do we know anything else about them?
That's something Dr. Mabrin would know. Which is something you probably like turn to ask Dr. Mabrin, and as you do, Doctor, you get a chirp on a hail from your communicator from sickbay, and it says, sickbay to Dr. Mabrin. We have a few patients in here with radiation sickness. We need you down here immediately.
All right, on my way.
And
Everyone all right up here, folks?
yeah, everyone up here is fine. You all took like a little bit of stress, but not anything. You're not. None of you are beginning to show signs of radiation poisoning, but apparently there are some downstairs in the sick bay, and that is where we're gonna end for tonight. And so we'll pick up next week right with right in sick bay. So we'll get some good Mabrin scenes. All right, thank you so much for playing, y'all, and thank you so much for watching. If you watched.
Thank you so much for DMing.
Aha.
Yes, thank you for
Yes.
DMing.
Thank you.
All right. Hope y'all had fun with the Snace ship. I was pretty excited about that.
Spaceship.
The schnip. All right. So yeah, we'll see you all next time on Stars I Shall Find. Good night, everyone.